All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is quarter after 2100 on a Friday night. We usually try to start at 2100, but we had a little chit chat to handle before the show could go live tonight. My name is Christopher Lowry. This is the Brushfire Mind. Now, there have been some developments in the news of late, and we're going to get to those in a minute. And hopefully we'll get on them and get right back off of them and talk about some video games or some movies or something. Politics is getting heavy. It's getting tired. It's getting old. Dear friend of mine and one of our co-hosts that's not with us yet this evening was telling me the other day that he's afraid that these sons of bitches have taken the fun out of politics. Because, you know, guys like us, we watch it like watch it like some people watch football. Some guys have football. I have politics and war. Those are the things I like to watch. Those are the things that interest me because they are interesting and they have impact that matters. But I want to get to all that stuff and crack wise and make some jokes and hopefully get a couple of chuckles to recover us from what will be the somber beginning of this evening's program. For nearly the life of the show, Rod didn't start joining us on the show until about 4 or 5 months into it. We're over a year now. We've been doing this show live almost every Friday night with I think we've missed 2. And you have my apologies. We weren't here last week because about half of us went and got drunk at my cousin's wedding. Just what happens with family, right? Life happens. And speaking of life happening, Rod has been joining us for the show for some time now. I've known Rod for nearly 20 years. I met Rod when I was still in high school, and he threw some books at me, and I read the shit out of them. I worked with Rod on some projects. He's been a pretty significant influence in my life. For the last several months that Rod's been joining us on the show, his father has also been, so to speak, on the show with us. Usually Mr. Hank was sitting in that chair that you'll see behind him. Tonight, we open on a somber note, and the boys of the Brushfire Mind wish to raise a glass, as we recognize an empty chair at an empty table for Mr. Hank. So I would like to dedicate this show to his memory. But I don't want to dig down too deep on Mr. Hank. I want to recognize him, and then I want to get off the subject so that we don't get poor Mr. Rod here crying in his coffee cup. So, ladies and gentlemen, it was a long ride for Mr. Hank, and I might, if Rod wants to say some words and talk a little bit about Mr. Hank's past, he was kind of a big deal in the world of law. But I'll leave that up to the man there if he can hang on for it. And then, Rod, if you'll go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hey, y'all. My dad was a good dude. He did everything for everybody. Worked with homeless people. Church stuff, you know, law, top of it. They called him the guru at the courthouse. That was his name because he just studied this stuff and he knew it like the back of his hand, you know. So we had the Alzheimer's, you know, and the clock runs out eventually. I kept him a bunch of years, but we didn't get into the physical part where it's so bad. So he checked out about the right time, I guess. You know, great guy. Definitely. But, you know, we gotta turn around. We gotta get a job. We gotta do things. we have to pay attention to what we're doing. You know, think about what's going on. It's possible to take care of everybody that needs to be taken care of, right? So let's just do all that. You know, we're here every Friday night discussing stuff that's, you know, kind of important. We're not talking about stuff that's insignificant. You know, we come to Brushfire Mind, we're talking about, you know, bad things are going to happen to people if things don't improve. We're not meeting just to chew the fat. But that's not what this group is about. And I'm kind of reminded that my kinfolks, when they came to Atlanta from Gainesville, Georgia, outside of Chicopee, it was in the Depression. And the cemetery that they're going to bury my dad in, this is where my grandmama and granddad and mom are already at. But that side of the family walked from Gainesville to Atlanta, and they set up a tent in that cemetery, and that's where they lived at for 2 years. Right? If we're not careful, we're going to be in that kind of business ourselves again. But we're not raising people that are cut out of that kind of cloth right now. Right? You guys are, by and large, you know, distinctly different than your counterparts, and you know it. So let's, you know, I'll raise a glass to Mr. Hank any day of the week. You know, he's successful. He did it right. He would never do it wrong. And that's what we got to do.
Well, amen to that. So, I'm going to non sequitur my ass off and just jump right onto something else. Get us
That's fine.
Somber topic.
Do it.
We'll miss him.
Just don't segue straight to Weiner.
Well, now that you've done that so clean.
You knew it was coming. You knew it.
All right, I'll tell you what.
Just flop it on out there, guys. Just flop it on
Here
out.
you go. Here's the guy that won't do it right.
Peter's out for Hillary.
I'm going to call my cousin back. I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
But no, before we everybody's talking about the Wiener scandal. Let's jump a little something else before we hop on the Wiener scandal. How about Attorney General Lynch has now essentially pled the fifth on questions from the Congressional Oversight Committee regarding the ransom money paid by the Obama administration to Iran. Anybody catch that little nugget in today's news?
Not at all. That kind of surprises me. For all the other stuff I have caught piecemeal, that hadn't come up yet.
I'm neither shocked nor amazed.
I just saw something about it pop across Facebook, and so I jumped off and went to I got one on Breitbart about it. I got one on CNN about it.
CNN reported it, then it's got to be something, because they don't talk about that stuff.
No. Oh, so I don't know what else to say about that, but to talk a little bit about the about what the situation is. So for those of you who don't know, 2 months ago, we heard news that large sums of cash had been sent over to Iran. The Obama administration had sent a large sum of money. How much was it, Patrick? Do you remember?
600 million, wasn't it?
Something like that. It wasn't quite $1 billion, but it was right on up there. And you're right. It was $600 million. It was I forget what the bullshit reason they said they were sending it to him, but it was basically,
I think they blamed it on reparations for the whole Desert One thing under Jimmy Carter.
Right, but it was.
Hang on for just a second. They blamed Jimmy Carter for that. Hang on just a second, guys.
Okay, so what I'm reading here, if you guys don't mind me hijacking a little bit.
No, go for it.
This is from the Washington Free Beacon. I won't say it's a nonpartisan news agency. I'm not that silly. Headline is Congress, Attorney General Lynch pleads fifth on secret Iran ransom payments, quote unquote ransom. Subheader, Obama admin blocking congressional probe into cash payments to Iran. Lynch is declining to comply with an investigation by leading members of Congress about the Obama administration's secret efforts to send Iran $1.7 billion in cash earlier this year. So the total was bigger, but we didn't hear about all of it. Prompting accusations that Lynch has pled the fifth to avoid incriminating herself over these payments, according to lawmakers. And then there's a bunch of other crap, but that's the gist of it. So she's trying to keep herself out of talking about anything that went on there. So, everything that was really perfectly legal for us to do, the Attorney General is afraid she'll be prosecuted for knowing about it.
It has absolutely nothing to do with self-incrimination. She's trying to keep dear Savior protected by keeping her mouth shut.
Maybe. I
That's
think
all
everybody
any of this.
ship now.
Anybody who's been pleading the Fifth Amendment, Lois Lerner, all these other folks who have been up there on Capitol Hill claiming the Fifth, that's what they're doing. They're trying to protect a dear ruler because we know we can't. Oh no, not our first black president. We can't tarnish that image.
Too late.
I saw somebody had posted it when it was concerning a jumping topic a little bit here, the Clinton email server stuff, and it was a clip that I've seen beat to death, but it's funny as hell to me. Was that live shot of Jim Chaffetz, the representative from Utah, who live on TV served the dude from the FBI requesting all of the emails that they had. I was just like, now that was pretty good. Very smart on his part because it put him right between a rock and a hard place because now it's out there for everybody to see, so now they got to do it.
Yeah. So we've got the piece about Lynch coming out.
Yeah.
What were the other two pieces we were going to talk about, Chris?
Okay, so Anthony Weiner is also under criminal investigation by the FBI. Completely separate from, even though he's obviously tied directly to the Clintons, Huma Abedin's estranged husband and all that, Weiner is under a separate criminal investigation. And in the proceeding of that investigation, his emails have been examined, and something, nobody has said what. I can't find a copy of the damn email, but every news outlet is reporting today that James Comey has stated that he is going to reopen the Clinton email investigation, like now. So we are heading into the election with a presidential candidate who is purportedly the most corrupt person ever to run for any public office, will be under criminal investigation for the duration of the election cycle.
Yep.
So we have talked about the Clinton emails ad nauseum. We've discussed this. We've beaten this horse. We're going to beat it just a little bit more tonight.
Deservedly so, I think.
I want to point out some things. When Comey made his initial statement, he went down the list. This has been said over and over again, but it cannot be said enough. When James Comey made his initial statement, it is absolutely the case that he spoke the list of crimes she had committed. He said she has done X, B, A, B, C, and D, X, Y, Z. She has used an illicit server, used a personal server for government emails, stored classified information on the private server, transmitted classified information in the clear on unsecured media. illegally removed classified information from secure containment, from secure locations. She has absolutely 100% done all of these things, and she has testified under oath and given a sworn statement to the FBI. And those two statements, the individual statements within those testimonies, are contradictory. Being directly contradictory, that guarantees that at least one of the two statements is false. Now, it is possible, it is logically and rhetorically possible that she lied to Congress and to the FBI. What is not possible, given two sets of O positive, inculpatory, and exculpatory statements, it is logically and rhetorically impossible for one of those two statements not to be an utter lie.
Right.
So at the end of the day, no matter what she has actually done, no matter what level of treason she has actually committed, and what quantity of proof can be offered in support of those suspicions and allegations, she is 100% proved beyond reasonable doubt to have perjured herself either to the Congress or to the FBI. Okay, in fairness, lying to the FBI is lying to the FBI. It's not the same as perjury. But lying to the FBI, Martha Stewart didn't go to jail for insider trading. She went to jail for lying to the FBI about her insider trading. There's a big damn difference there. So at a bare minimum, Hillary Clinton is guilty of the same crime for which her husband Bill was impeached. People forget this. People get this confused. And it was a massive mistake on the part of our legislatures and our law enforcement and the whole damn government. Back in the 90s when Bill Clinton was impeached, it was a massive mistake for him not to leave office. That was his staying in office was a very careful maneuver by the Clintons to help Americans forget that he was impeached.
Mm-hmm.
People don't seem to understand the difference between being impeached and being removed from office. They forget that when Nixon was impeached, his impeachment did not remove him from office. He resigned. He was not removed. He was not forced by law to resign from his office. He did it voluntarily because following the impeachment, he felt that that was the honorable course of action. And he wasn't wrong. That having been impeached for crimes in his official capacity, removing himself from office, resigning like a gentleman and leaving was the correct path. Bill Clinton is not that classy. You show me a Clinton falling on his sword to end a war we're losing. So, okay, and the other thing that is proof positive is the destruction of evidence. Like I've talked about on this show before. That's what's called spoliation. So we have the proof that evidence was destroyed after it was subpoenaed. She was subpoenaed for her emails and her computers and her devices. And after the subpoena, she and her lawyers and her aides destroyed the emails and devices in question. That is called spoliation. Spoliation is its own crime, and when spoliation is discovered in criminal proceeding, it equals the worst case scenario. Essentially, imagine you have a murder trial and evidence is brought into the trial that is a videotape of the accused destroying an M9, and the victim was shot with a 9mm round. Now, we cannot know that M9 is the same M9 that fired the 9mm round that killed the victim. However, what we can know is that M9 was destroyed by the man who was accused of having murdered the victim, who was accused of having committed the crime. In light of whatever other evidence has brought him to be the suspect, the videotape proving that he destroyed the M9 tells us that he risked being convicted of a separate crime, the destruction of evidence, in order to destroy what may have been the evidence. And no reasonable person is going to risk being convicted of a crime in that sort of circumstance unless they are hoping to avoid being convicted of a greater crime.
Oh, come on, Ogre. Come on, man. You know I just wanted to destroy the gun because I like destroying guns.
Exactly.
Man, come on. I just wanted to destroy a gun. It didn't have anything to do with nothing else. Come on, man.
And a jury in that case would be instructed to treat it as if the smoking gun had been brought before them and laid out with a forensic report matching the gun to the bullet, forensic report matching the prints on the gun and on the inside of the barrel because a good defense attorney might be able to explain away your prints being on a gun. He's going to have a hell of a hard time explaining away your prints being on the bullet or on the inside of the barrel from where you were cleaning that gun.
Man, that's the reason you're supposed to get a new mailbox. You dig a hole, you got to get a new. I've always wanted to have a new mailbox.
As if it were the absolute most damning thing probable. And hold on a minute, Rod. I'll get back to you. I've got one more thing I want to hit. In Comey's testimony to the Oversight Committee on the Wednesday or Thursday immediately after his Monday announcement that he was going to recommend no charges be filed because no reasonable prosecutor, blah, 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 blah. In that, he stated that the reason that nobody would pursue it is because there was no way to prove intent in that case. There's a couple of things here, and I'm going to unpack them for you, and I'm going to try to do it quickly. And then I want to hear from my guys on it. First, his assertion to the lack of intent being a reason not to follow prosecution is utterly, utterly ridiculous. Because under that clause in USIT 18, it is a matter of gross negligence, or as Comey stated, extreme carelessness. It's interesting that Comey kept saying extreme carelessness and refused to use the words gross negligence. And it's because gross negligence is the definition under the law. There is no requirement for intent here. None. No reason to follow on intent. Next, Gowdy then calls out Comey and he says, okay, look, intent is always, 100% always proved by circumstantial evidence only. You never, ever, ever, you're never going to have a criminal call you in advance and say, hey, I'm going to go out and commit this crime. Go ahead and look up the statute so that you're ready to prosecute when I've done it. I know that what I'm doing is a crime, and I intend to commit this crime, and I am going to commit this crime with full knowledge of the crime that I'm committing. That doesn't happen. That's what Trey Gowdy said in the Senate hearing with Comey. I like Gowdy. Gowdy's he's a fucking pit bull, and I love that about him. But he slipped here because he's almost right. But in 99, not 100%, 99% of cases, this is the 1%. In the case of Hillary's email scandal, She had clearance and access to classified material, which means that from the get-go, in order for her to have access to that material, she had to sign a non-disclosure. She had to go through background checks. And that's a whole nother conversation about how she managed to get through background checks, which she had to have gone through after she was fired from the Watergate investigation for corruption. I'm here to tell you right now, if most of us were to go through the background checks to get a government clearance, and our background said we had been fired from a federal case for allegations of corruption and malfeasance and legal misconduct, that's going to stop you short right there. So somehow, this woman with a history of corruption and malfeasance managed to get her hands on a top secret security clearance with access to special access programs and secure compartmentalized information. That means she had to go through a polygraph, and more importantly, and this gets to the Comey point, she had to sign a non-disclosure agreement, a hard copy, black and white document with her signature on it and her initials. And I had to sign one, and I don't remember how many damn places I had to initial. I think I had to sign 4 or 5 different pages and initial all up and down them. So what we have here with respect to the question of intent is everything that you never get to prove intent, and for that reason intent is always proved circumstantially. There's literally a thick official document with her signature signed by her and witnessed that says, I understand this is a crime. I will not commit this crime. I understand that if I commit this crime, I will suffer under penalty of treason. So this woman has stated her understanding of the crime, understands that what the crime is treason, and then committed the crime. And the statement of her understanding and intent is in black and white with her signature signed by at least one witness. I think it was 2. So that is where the email situation is. There is not a world in which this evidence does not equal absolute guilt. And under Article 3, Section 3, she should be executed.
Well, Ogre, here's how it works in the real world. In the real world, you're a shop owner, right? You got a sidewalk out front, right? Nothing wrong with your sidewalk, right? If somebody trips over their own feet in front of your sidewalk, that's their problem, right? Now, if it's icy outside, right, and you know it's icy outside and you're open for business, and somebody trying to get into your business, trying to open up the door, slips and falls and busts their head, your standard of care changed, okay? That's what they call it.
Right.
The standard of care that you have to take in order to get into the negligence problems changes with knowledge. Okay, that's how they look at it. The more knowledge you have, right? Like there's a potential that a rock could hit somebody if I run this lawnmower. Like that Mayhem guy, right? Everything he does is negligent, right? He's running over the rock bed with the lawnmower, and rocks are just going through the windows left and right, right? Everything that man does is negligent. Well, Hillary Clinton is mayhem, right? But she's been charged with a greater standard of care, okay? And so the gross negligence standard that the statute requires is met because she's got a greater standard of due diligence to meet. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's like you have to be much more precise. You have to be much, much more careful, right? Or your standard of care gets you in negligence problems. Gross negligence, the standard changes, right? So she could be definitely in violation of the statute, right? Just because she read and signed those documents. Because that's what those documents are designed to do. That's the reason you're signing those documents, is they don't want you to be able to say, oh, I didn't realize that there was ice on the sidewalk and cause somebody to fall down and bust their head. You mean that could be a problem? All right, I'll go away for a minute.
Well, I think trying to get us all in to discuss parts of that, I don't think there's much we can discuss. That is as bald-faced a violation as you can possibly get with it. There's nothing in any of that that is a defensible position. Oh, she just didn't know it could be considered classified. She's in what, the third, fourth highest office in the land at that point in the order of succession? She probably knows what she can and can't share. If not, she should be removed for incompetence, I would assume. And that's at the most ludicrous level of denial. You take any of that stuff, it's been shared over and over. It's been across everybody's Facebook pages. It's, what is it, like section 301 and subsections B and C about how all that stuff that she did was supposed to be handled versus how she did it. And we all know that right there in that same set of, but I guess right in that same statute is listed the punishment, no more and no less, in what it all amounts to. The fact that there's still that large segment of the population that doesn't think her email chains were really that important completely missed the entire point of what has gone on here. And it's actually taken layers of this now. And to build off of what Chris said about what people have forgotten or are ignoring about Clinton in the 90s, I think it's important also to point out the fact that Clinton wasn't impeached because he got oral favors in the Oval Office. He lied under oath and was impeached for that. He was impeached for perjury, not for adultery. So the idea isn't that Hillary sent some emails on an unsecured server. The idea, the content in those emails had, period, like you said, it's not a matter of intent. That is gross negligence. She sent everything to everybody on an unsecured server. And now things have come out that even Obama noticed in email shooting around that her stuff was not coming from a government.
Well, it's coming out that Obama was actually corresponding with Hillary on the private server.
Right.
So
everybody's
tied up in this.
Right. But it goes back to what we were talking about pre-show, in the fact that most of this, I mean, even during the hot show now, the whole pleading the fifth thing being bigger and bigger and bigger. I would love to see this just spin apart and come to pieces and break every aspect of this down, because I think this goes way across way more offices than anyone ever thinks it would.
Put every elected official, put every federal elected official in jail, Trump in the White House, and Gary Johnson in charge of the ATF. Boom. I'm going to share something with y'all real quick. This one's even better than the one we were looking at earlier, guys.
All right.
Dickie leaks.
Oh, the internet is quick.
Yeah. I'm working on a meme. I'm okay. Spoiler alert. Any Walking Dead fans watching the show right now, or any of you guys? Am I going to ruin your lives if I say something about the most recent Walking Dead episode?
I'm up to date.
Okay. I'm looking for a picture of Negan hitting Glenn in the head with the baseball bat. I'm going to Photoshop Hillary's head on it. On Negan. So Hillary's
right. Yeah, there was one meme floating around that was Abraham talking to Glenn, saying about the stuff that they had on Clinton. I thought that was clever too.
What's wrong with this guy? What makes a guy want to wienerize himself with the camera and get in that kind of trouble?
Hold on a second. Can we just talk for just a minute about this? There's a sex scandal. This guy is embroiled in multiple sex scandals. And let's face it, he's got a good-looking wife. All right? He's got a good-looking wife at home, good job, good money, right?
Yeah, she looks like George Clooney's wife.
Right, and this guy's got himself embroiled in these sex scandals. Younger women, sext messaging, sending pictures of his pecker around. And really, if your last name is Wiener, maybe fucking don't.
Yeah, I'm all for that, but you can't fix stupid. You can only adjust it with a 2x4.
Patrick's last name is Brown. I'm sure he's very careful not to shit himself in public. If your last name is Wiener, fucking don't. I'm sorry, Patrick. I mean, I've got Purvis, Rodemeyer, and Lowry. We can do whatever.
How'd that song go? Not that I would ever change the word.
The worst part about my last name there for the longest time was everybody was walking up and asking what I could do for them. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I'm going to dress up like a monkey's uncle for Halloween.
Are you going to ride in the sidecar?
I don't know what a monkey's uncle looks like, but I'm going to figure it out because I'll be a monkey's uncle. That's all I got to say. This guy is incurable. What he needs is electroshock. If he touches his pecker, he gets a shock. If he touches his pecker, he gets a shock.
I
don't know. That might excite him.
A combination of narcissism and a sexual addiction of some sort, because how many times can it be made public before you just don't go out of the house anymore?
2 words, Ron Jeremy.
You can get out of the house as long as you got a internet connection.
Chris, what was the rule in the military masturbation? Is it 13 times getting caught before you can be driven out?
Something like that. You have to be caught 13 times in one day or something. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was beyond anything. It was beyond the capacity of any normal man.
Well, I mean, even then, getting caught 3 or 4 times, by that point, you're pretty much done anyway.
Right.
You're not going to live that down. And I mean, this guy's been in the news. The only thing this guy's ever been in the news about has been these dick pics.
What would he do if somebody told him? What would he do if somebody told him to get busy?
I don't take pictures of it for Pete's sake.
Well, he could just join the porn industry and make a bunch of money. He's got the great name.
Well, yeah. Hell, if John Wayne Bobbitt could make money in porn after the fact, I'm sure Anthony Weiner could.
Wow.
There's a disconnect there.
Nobody ever went broke underestimating the taste of the American public. We all know.
No, not at all.
Open wide.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about how porn created America. Or not America in particular, but oh, it went away. What the hell's happening here?
You're making me want to know who that wants to be friends with you is.
You fixated on that pretty quickly, too.
Yeah, it's red.
Yeah.
Frank Muramoto.
Oh, sounds Nigerian to me. Hey, he might be a prince.
Is that rich prince again? I already told him 3 times I'd help him out, but he just doesn't seem to answer the checks.
All right, guys. Well, I got to check out. I got a young one I got to go pay attention to here for just a second. So,
all right, sweetheart. Well, it was good to see
you, everybody.
Good to see you, brother.
Y'all take care.
You too.
Yeah, man. Ooh-wee. So what are you talking about? What, this is locker room talk, right? We're talking about our wiener.
No, we're talking about someone else's wiener. I think that's fair game.
That sounds queer.
We're talking about a very good-looking women's wiener. So this is equal opportunity.
I don't know.
Okay. Her former wiener, I don't know if they're still together.
Maybe he should leap out of the closet and put on his cape.
I hope not. Once again, I don't want pictures.
Okay.
I just think that, well, what else can we talk about?
Well, those were the big news items this week.
Say again?
Those were the big news items this week.
Well, actually, just pretty much today, other than the...
Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I went to the Herman Cain rally last night in McDonough. I got to shake hands with Herman Cain, and let me tell you this about Herman Cain. He shakes hands like a damn man. I appreciate that shit. I always worry a little bit when I meet somebody important or somebody that I respect for the first time. I'm always just a little bit afraid that they're going to hand me a limp fish and destroy anything I ever hoped for them. I mean, hell, if I got to meet Donald Trump and he handed me a limp fish, I might vote for Hillary.
You liar.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah. So did Herman recognize your voice?
It wasn't a lie. I was speaking hyperbolically.
Yes, indeed.
He said he recognized my voice, and I said, "Yeah, I'm Fat Boy from Conyers. Remember, you said I sounded like I knew about pizza." So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like Herman Cain and I go way back as like close friends, but I've called into the show and talked to him a couple of times. And let me recount for you the two that made an impression, and I had a lot of fun
for the first one, because I went to different levels for everybody. But yeah, that's once it starts, you just try to slow it down as much as you can. But I mean, that's what we all come to at the end, whether it's Alzheimer's or whether it's just natural body function shutting down. I think the important thing is there are philosophies and there are trademarks, so I won't name them by name. But rather than having that life curve where you climb and climb and climb and climb, and then you have this long, slow descent of constantly losing function and things, the idea is you climb up and you have your quality of life here, and then you keep it up, and then maybe you have a couple bobbles, but you keep it up here, and then just drop off all at once at the end. It's kind of like that old adage, when you get to heaven, you want to slide in sideways screaming. When you stop, the tires all fall off of the car screaming, "Oh, that was a hell of a ride."
Right.
That's a much better way to go,
Yeah, but he did that, but it was kind of like on.
I know it, and none of it's ever pretty, and none of it's easy. But like you said, you had some good times in there, and those are the ones that are going to stand out. Those laughs will stick with you.
Well, I've had to object to doctors and stuff like that, and I do it at a hard drop of a hat. And I said ventilator.
Yeah.
And I talked to the preacher about it. I was like, I just looking at it and all the gasping and the horror. I was like, we don't have to have this damn horror. We can have a ventilator, right? And I don't know what that does to the bill, but who cares?
Yeah, at that point, you got to keep the man comfortable.
That's like a hospice basic or something.
Yeah,
right.
It would be. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, it's like, you're asking me about DNR. You're supposed to be thinking hospice. And this gasping and that horrified look that comes from all that, that's supposed to be abatable.
Right.
Standard of care, right? They even say care, standard of care, due diligence, all
and that's what they tell you all the time when it comes to sending someone to hospice, is the fact that even if you can no longer do anything, you can at least keep them as comfortable and pain-free as possible.
That's why I said ventilator.
That's right. Why they didn't refer them to a hospice, I could only attest to. Maybe they knew it was worse than what they would let on to you that it was. Maybe they knew he wasn't going to.
Well,
but neither.
They didn't offer me any hope, but
right.
Still, the ventilator, tone that right down. And
yeah, I was going to say at least try, not try to avoid all of it. I mean, that's
what's that Olympic sport in the winter when they got the big stone and they slide it down the ice and it just kind of slides and comes to a rest? I'd rather go out like that than get incinerated.
Well, I'd much rather just crash and burn quick. Have a good quality of life and go. Or like I've said, if I have to deal with the dementia, the Alzheimer's, or anything, I'd rather it take my mind and leave my body alone so I can still walk around But go ahead and take my brain enough, because I've seen people that way too, who made new friends every day in the same hallway.
Right. Exactly.
They were just happy to be around. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we did that. You know, and he still sang the hymns. I'd play the hymns for him. He'd sing them, and all kinds of good stuff like that. There was quality of life.
Memory doesn't seem to be bothered as much.
Huh?
The long-term memories always seem to stick the best. Because that's my first experience with that was a great-grandmother. It was my grandma's mom, who she lived until I was in my late teens. So I knew her, you know, a lot of my great-grandparents way later than most people get to. And hers was the same way. She remembered so many things up to like a certain age, maybe up to 8 or 9 years old. And that was the mindset she stayed in for 6 or 7 years. But it was those were the rooted things. And if Mr. Hank was raised with all those hymns and things and he enjoyed those are what imprinted the strongest.
The ones that I picked out for the church there were 2 of them that he played on the piano when I was a kid. His mama taught him how to play the piano. And I picked out those 2, you know, and Precious Lord, because that's just you get to be 80-something years old, and they're going to sing that one for you. Because that whole crowd, that song came out about then.
Oh, okay.
When they were babies. I think that song came out in 35 or something. I could look real quick. It's got a trademark on it.
Yeah.
And it's on page 450 if you want to sing along. In this hymnal.
Right.
And this hymnal says copyright 1938. So he was 8 years old when this song came out.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah, the lifelong imprint of that one.
Yeah. So, you know, and I was noticing the old timers, if somebody made 80 years old, they're going to sing that song at their funeral, especially if they were good. And so I picked that one out. I said, whatever we're doing, we're going to sing these 3. And so they're going to have a pick 'em up choir. Pick 'em up. Anybody wants to sing, get your hand, but come up here to front. And we're going to sing these 3, or try.
Right.
And that'll sound just right.
Right on.
I'll probably put a camera up in there and record the whole thing. Because that'll be good. That'll be nice. That'll be a good South Georgia funeral, complete with dinner for the family ahead of time. But you noticed that Mr. Hank had brains, and the doctor said that he was going to last longer because he started out with a lot more brains than most people.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, he said Mr. Hank started out with a lot more brain power than anybody else. And I was like, yeah. So you know the neurologist, you know, our first trip to him was in 2001.
Really?
You know, and the Alzheimer's diagnosis came down in 2007.
Okay.
So how far do we make it?
I'm not even sure sure how you set that yardstick. I mean, because like you said, there were rough times in there too before it evened out. Do you still consider those success, or just dealing until the success came later? When learning how to deal with it became easier, a little more routine.
Well, I've got a friend, her name's Sarah Queel. And and you don't have to have a whole lot of Seroquel, but sometimes you have to have a little.
Yeah, a little help never hurt.
And just a little help from Seroquel to dispel delusions that cause explosions.
Yeah.
My mama is waiting for me at the house over yonder. And you're not going to stop me from going to go see my mama, who's been dead for 40 years.
Uh-huh.
Because she's over yonder. I know she's over there. I heard her calling me. She's, I'm supposed to meet. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And just a little bit of Seroquel to make that stop.
Yeah. Without being drugged into oblivion and sleeping into bed 20 hours.
No. Emory University Neurology does not believe in chemical restraints.
Excellent.
As a matter of fact, the last time we went up there, he says, we're coming off of certain things, coming off the Seroquel and we're coming off the citalopram. Don't need it. It might be making him sleepy, right? That didn't have anything to do with a little pneumonia causing sepsis.
Right. And
I was like,
it's a multifaceted thing here anyway, so.
Yeah, and I was like, well, okay, and I said, I'll only give him a little Seroquel if it's just getting Hankensteiny. He was like, fine. just get off of the stuff so he'll be awake more. We don't want to give him stuff that's going to be making him sleep all day.
Right, which wouldn't have been healthy.
No, our hours are crazy.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, get him up at 2 because he went to bed at 2. Right?
Yeah.
But I had approval to do that. And it just kept on gravitating toward, here we are at midnight, and he just now woke up real good, and now is the sweet time to talk to Mr. Hank. And you think I'm going to throw that away?
Absolutely not. No, I don't blame you.
Some nurse would go, oh, but you got to be in bed right now because we got a clock that says you're supposed to be in bed right now. And I'll be like, this is sweet.
Yeah. So no, you ride the good time while it's there. Absolutely.
I'm going to start playing the piano and we're going to start singing.
Yep.
Because the good times here. Let's go with it.
Okay. You take what you can get. That works.
That's how I was rocking and rolling. Like that. But it was okay for me to let him sit there for an hour and come talk to you guys once a week.
Yeah. Like I said, it obvious he was being entertained too. So it's not like he was suffering through it. Well, probably some of it bored the hell out of him, but
Well, oftentimes he was off camera eating a T-bone damn steak.
Yeah, that's true too.
And
there are worse ways to do it.
You sprinkle some stuff on it, you broil it for 4 minutes on one side and 3.5 minutes on the other side, and then you cut it up in little pieces and you give it to him, and he'll get it all. It's not going to happen all at once, but he'll eat every bit of it. And the potato.
Right on. Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's right. He's going to eat all of it. Now it's 10:30. What y'all doing?
Well,
boom.
So I'm going to have to.
Test is over. It's boom. Shock.
Well, sort of. But I've got commitments. I've got to be up tomorrow morning. We're helping a friend move. So the earlier we start, the sooner I can knock off and drink beer.
I used to have all kinds of people move. I don't know one of them now.
That's in this case, it's a very close friend of my wife's. So I went and borrowed a truck and a trailer tonight. She's going to borrow a big truck tomorrow, and hopefully, maybe we can do it all in one trip. So,
you know what I've always told people, and I helped a lot of people move, and I can pick up a 175-pound TV set all by myself. I would say, go get the biggest truck they got and bring it.
Right.
And then, we can save $10. I was like, go get the biggest damn truck they got.
Right.
And don't get nothing smaller than the biggest truck they got. It don't matter. Get the big damn truck.
Yep, then there are no questions.
Let me go with you and make sure you get the big damn truck. That's all. Moving is fun. We're going to have a lot of fun. I got 2 piano dollies. We got hand trucks, the ones that got the little things on them so you can go up and down the stairs with them.
Right.
Moving is fun. Oh, y'all hadn't packed stuff yet? Oh. You don't have the boxes yet?
All this stuff is in a storage unit, so all that is taken care of. It's all just playing Tetris and hauling it away.
Well, that's like working at a distribution center.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter, there's some bigger furniture, and so, a lot of boxes. So we just needed lots of real estate inside sheet metal in order to get it where we're going. So
I moved a 900-pound piano by myself one time.
Good
Takes
Lord.
2 piano dollies. You pick up one side and kick the piano dolly up on there with one foot, and you go pick up the other side, and you lash them piano dollies down, and you kind of make it go where you want it to go.
Yeah.
I'm not going up downstairs with a piano that weighs 900 pounds in line.
Shit, no. I wouldn't want to take it up or downstairs, period.
But maybe one stair, maybe 2.
Well, there are 3 stairs up from my garage floor into my kitchen. When we brought ours in, that was the only stairs we went across. And I just as soon leave it here when we sell the place.
It's not that bad. Get 2 piano dollies and 2 2x12s.
Or 4 temp workers.
Ugger, how's your back?
It's when we first got it, we had to get it off a U-Haul and into a storage unit. His dad and brother did help me.
Yep. Ugger, how's your back?
My back ain't great.
Yeah. That's what you need. You need piano dollies and 2x12s. I got a piano out of a church one time. We had to pick it up over the altar to get it out.
Good Lord.
And then we had to go down all these stairs. And so what I did was I backed the pickup truck. There were like 8 stairs, right? So I backed the pickup truck up to the, as far as it would go. And then I got these 4x6s and ran them from the top stair to the pickup truck.
Mhm.
And we went right down those 4x6s.
That's old school.
Look, I believe in levers and planes and stuff. They're your friends.
Mhm.
Well, I was moving my sister one time, and she was always renting stuff on the top story. And she had one of them hand trucks, but it didn't have the things on it.
Right.
And it's time to move the washer dryer. So I didn't want to go boom, 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 up 4 flights of stairs. And so what I did was I reached into the dryer and picked it up. And I was going up the stairs backwards with it, holding it. And I'd sent her on an errand. It should have taken long enough for me to be able to get to the top of the stairs with the thing. Instead of having to go boom, 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 alone,
Right.
What do you think you're doing? Well, I picked up the washing machine and I'm carrying it up the stairs. Hugger, sound familiar?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. I stopped doing stuff like that before it was too late. Did you?
Yeah, he stopped doing that and went to kicking over walls.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. Wall kicking and riding around in armored trucks, body armor on, did a number on my back and hips.
Forced marches with 130 pounds of gear on. Yeah.
I don't know about forced marches.
Well, yeah, you weren't allowed to say no.
Well, what was it that actually hurt you? Was it running through the walls and shooting everybody in the house, or was it what?
No, you know what really did my back and especially my hips in, being in them big old armored trucks with my full body kit on in the truck in the seat, riding around on rough roads with I got 100-pound of armor and bullets on me, riding around on these rough roads doing this all day.
Yeah, pretty much.
Most of my skeletal muscular problems are from impact compression.
Yep.
Did y'all ever hear that song?
I'm getting blank.
Right. Did you ever hear that song, Gonna Drive My Truck All Over the World?
I don't know that one.
I'll find it and post it. Gonna drink them beers and shift them gears. Gonna drive my truck all over the world.
Look that up. Look up Weird Al Yankovic's Truck Driving Man.
I'll find it. I'll post it. I'm not gonna post anything on my thing until after the funeral. That way, directions of where folks are supposed to go, or like pinned to the top. But I'll start post. I'll send you a link to the thing via whatever.
Yeah.
That Drive My Truck All Over the World song is cool.
Okay.
It was like that.
I'm going to back it down. So.
All right.
This little bit, we've gotten into what's usually our after show piece of the conversation. We are in fact still live, so I'm gonna go ahead and do our outro and call it a night. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 22:40 on a Friday night. This has been the Brushfire Mind. Thanks for attending. We appreciate your patronage. Do follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and give the Patreon account. Help us make more of these videos. Help us keep expanding and making this bigger and bigger. As you see, gave the old office a facelift. I'm getting a new backdrop soon because obviously. But until next week, this has been the Brushfire Mind. We've been on air for just over a year now, and we appreciate all you guys that do watch the show. So until next week, this has been the Brushfire Mind, and please remember, if you build a man a fire, you'll keep him warm for the evening. But if you light a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. Good night.